Hey everybody, Adhpa here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning visitor or subscriber, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. And please click like. And if you haven't already, click subscribe. And hopefully we can get this out a little bit more. So I wanted to talk a little bit this week about why I am putting all this down into video record and putting it out there. I've been working with these principles that I'm talking about, which is human agency over their faculties, their full range of faculties, including energy faculties, which we know little about. But I've been doing this for many, many years, and as a result of doing this and working with all of my energy faculties um, in an intelligent, rational way, uh, a moral way as well, I have been able to overcome, literally mountains, things that people often do not overcome. Manksy's in a little bit in the frame here. We'll bring him in. You can have a look at him while I'm talking. So I wanted to do this channel to kind of share some tips and tricks and how to use it and what it is, and hopefully other people can also then employ it in their own way and benefit and overcome challenges in their life that might seem insurmountable. So that's the point of doing this, is hopefully somebody picks up something from it and learns from it. But I'm not sure I've done a lot of actual hacks or tips for you to use and employ in your daily life to try this. So I thought I would try this week to do a reading on that. What are some ways that people can put this to work in their own lives? What are some things they can do? Well, I will tell you that for myself, the main thing that I do is very regularly keep coming back to my inner connection, to my center of what you might call spiritual being. I call it now energy being. And making sure that I'm connected, and that means I'm aware of my connections with all of living things in the environment around me and the earth and the bigger picture, as well as my internal connections are in balance. My emotions, my thinking, my physical health, and my energy are all in a centered, connected place. And you might call that a place of prayer. I started sort of my whole journey was about focusing on the good rather than the not good. And so in prayer, my prayer, as it were, was for an intention of good, being in a state of good, and therefore creating what might be for the highest possible good in the moment. Um, and of course, in all of that, I did a lot of religious research, and of course came across the whole prayer without ceasing. And to me, what this really is referring to is that internal fully connection. And it's not just spiritual, you're connected completely, and that is a state of agency. And so to the extent that I can keep myself in that state of agency, I then come to understandings, intuitions, various things happen. So, for instance, I have been employing this very intentionally in my gardening to work with the moon cycles and listen to intuition. And as a result of that, in a very, very short time this year, I had literally a transformation of my yard space. Gardens came together where the pieces had been before. All the pieces came together this year and created really a sort of spectacular change in the way the whole garden appears and looks. And I've done a lot of extensive work extending it and putting in my vegetable garden this year. But also, as a result of following those things, certain things unfolded. For instance, someone came and dug my garden and put in manure for me this year out of the blue. And then similarly later, someone out of the blue dropped off a flat of plants on a perfect planting time. I was able to clear the yard and burn all the waste on perfect time, such that the weather was just right, the wind broke, the fire could happen, and then the rain came, and everything was done in a sort of a flow and a momentum of perfection, and therefore it all a little hit there on the electrics. I don't know what that means, but that's how it works for me. But it all starts from having that interconnection and coming back to it over and over until it becomes a natural experience that you walk with wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I will say, it can make it difficult to walk in the world with people in a job and other things when you suddenly start doing that, because you may come up with decisions and intuitions and make changes that are not, it's not apparent to other people why you're doing that. And the benefits from it may not be apparent to them either, because it may come in ways in your life that they're unaware of, but you would become aware of it. And even then, we never are aware of the full good that unfolds when we create good. But it is an expression of an energy, and that energy can go out and flow and connect and grow and increase through each individual person that takes it in and works with it. So there is an obvious escalation of the energies that we put out there to a degree that we can't comprehend, but we can see that. We can see that that happens. Okay, so to that end, I'd like to give you a reading this week on things you can do, you as an individual can do, to assist yourself in attaining full agency over your energy, and what that outcome could produce for you if you start to focus in on this, become intentional about your full agency over your energy faculties as well as your other ones. All right, hold on, and I'll bring you down and we'll have a look at what the cards have to say. Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to try something new this week. I'm going to use something called the Akashic Tarot. This is Sharon Ann Klinger and Sandra Ann Taylor. It's a smaller deck than the typical 78 card tarot, so I'm curious to see what will come out of it. And I have my handy guidebook if I need to look something up, because I'm not sure. And then we will also use, for clarification, the Animal Elders Oracle by Aisha Frost. As usual, I have shuffled the decks, but I will shuffle some more here now as we consider how the viewers of this video can, some tricks, tips for them on getting agency over their energy faculties, and being intentionally engaged with all of their faculties fully, how that might help them, what that might manifest for them, and some tips on how they might do that. So let's have a look at what this Akashic Tarot has to say about it. Let us see if it'll throw a card out. It's a very large deck. Something for the viewers to help them with their own energy agency. Something for the viewers. All right. And Give it one more chance to throw a card out. And we're not getting one, but I am feeling this last one wants to stay there. Oh, look, it just really wants to stay there. So we're going to pull right off the top. Sometimes the cards want right what's on the top. All right, and let's see about these clarifiers. Same question. Tips for the viewers on energy agency and what it can do for them. I'll give it one more go around. All right, and we'll take the top card, same as the other one. All right, and let us see what we get. 4 of Roses, views of the ego. 4 of Roses, views of the ego. I think that is like their 4 of Cups. Yes, I think this must be very much like the 4 of Cups. This is a card of reflection, reflection on self. And of course, that makes perfect sense given what we're talking about. And that's clarified by believe in yourself, Elder Muskrat. Well, that's lovely because that's certainly one of the first keys to having full energy agency. You have to understand it comes with you. You don't have to go outside of yourself to someone else, anywhere else. It is a part of you that you can see if you reflect upon yourself. It is separate from the pulls on our ego, and you must believe that and know that to be able to ever gain agency over it. The challenge, the Queen of Scrolls. This is a queen of information. All right, for the Queen. Yes, this is someone who can show wisdom, show the way. So the challenge is maybe, and this is saying, when it comes from someone without, when someone else is coming and bringing you information and wisdom, there is an upside and a downside. Take information in, such as from this video and others, but in the end, you have to assess it from yourself within and choose which information, which wisdom is applicable to your full being, your full reality. So oftentimes I have come across people who told me that, things that could have put me off living this way. And I chose to take what I needed from it and leave the rest and continue, even if they thought it was a problem. They thought it was whatever they thought, wrong, delusional, idealistic, whatever those labels were they put on it. Even though there was wisdom behind their argument, I stuck to my belief in myself and my inner guidance. And so I didn't get dissuaded by that. And I think that's what this is saying. We're challenged to not be dissuaded by outer things in life that try to tell us how to do this. Elder Skunk, set boundaries. That's exactly right. We're challenged to set boundaries. We let the world take away our inner wisdom if we don't set boundaries. what we have control over, the Oracle of Delphi. This is like the magician. This is that first stage in the tarot, the first card. We have control over how we manifest, which oracle we go to, what question we ask the oracle, and what steps we take as a result of it. In a sense, we control that. And that is clarified by Elder Turtle. Slow down. So there, I would say that there is we have control over it, and it gives us the ability to speed up or slow down this progress that we make. You know, that it's, if you go too fast through energy work, you might make a mistake. You need the space and the time to explore the energy and work with it. Later, when you become very adept, you can call up intentions and create energy very quickly. But initially, it's a slow process. And I think that's what this is referring to. In the recent past, thing affecting this, the One of Keys, the Architect, the One of Keys, the Ace of Keys. I think this is like the Cups. So this is like the new energy coming in, the new creation energy coming in. And so we have the Architect. So there was a recent increase in people's agency, ability to be the architects of their own lives. And many of you may feel like changes recently have set you free to build something new. And this is clarified by Elder Frog. Break generational cycles. Yeah, there's been something to break the cycle and give people an opportunity to go a new way. So if you've been struggling and you feel like things are out of your hands and out of control, you know, when you go to that center and understand that there is intention in you're your own architect of what's going on now, you can then accept that it's leading you to a higher good, or accept that there are things you need to release, or whatever it is. But you have to accept that we are in fact doing this, and it's about breaking old cycles that weren't working. What we cannot control are paths unknown. This is the Eight of Scrolls. This would be like the Eight of Swords. You know, we get ourselves tied into something and we don't know what the future is, and that's scary. We come to a certain place, we've brought ourselves and our baggage. She has all her scrolls and her wisdom she's brought to this place, but now the unknown aspect of it is like being bound and blindfolded, and you have to take some steps. You have to be willing to take some blind steps on paths unknown. And this is something we can't control. This is what life is. Life unfolds as paths unknown. And that is clarified by Elder Butterfly. Change is here. That is life. Life will be change. And it will change, and there will be unknown paths revealed. That's the process. What we are doing, what we can do, what is the potential in doing this? Wishes fulfilled. 5 of Keys. 5 of Keys. Wishes fulfilled. So, and I don't know if this really, if Keys is maybe more like the Swords or whatever. If we're reading it as Cups, that would normally be a disappointment card. But in this deck, it's not. In this deck, it's about having the bounty. Everything is there in the larder. Having the vistas to see out. There are things under the table, things that you might not want to bring up onto the table. The alcohol. There's issues maybe under the table. But everything on the table is looking bountiful and alive. So I think what this card is saying is that we have the potential to have those wishes fulfilled. There will always be some dark hidden areas and things in it. We're not going to be perfect. And that is clarified by Elder Moose. Honor your lineage. Wishes fulfilled. Honor your lineage. You know, this line of intentions can be honored and fulfilled. Whatever it is you have. Now, if your intentions are not healthy and not good, then this is the time to figure that out. Because we are working towards manifesting our intentions. And whatever they are. So this is about clarifying how energy and intentions work together and getting really clear in your intentions. And that how we see ourselves, or how you might see yourselves in relation to this. 5 of Roses, the garden. They're in the garden. You know, there's an enjoyment of earth, an enjoyment stopping to smell the roses, also playing, a sense of play, and it's something he's doing with his arms is like a sense of looking toward the future, or reaching out towards it, or aiming for something. So, you know, we see ourselves perhaps as in an abundant place with aims and ambitions, and also an ability to stop and smell the roses and enjoy beauty. And that is clarified by Elder Salmon. Keep going. It's part of the path, the journey, but this is not where life ends. This is a beginning point. And you know, we know that, and we want more. We want to keep going. There's also the salmon go home every year. So there's a sense of keep moving on your journey of reflection and going back over the spiritual ground again. The environment, and oops, is that it? Yeah. Oh, no, there's a card there. The environment in which you sit. The 1 of Roses, commitment. Commitment. You know, that we are committed. The environment is happening. There are certain things afoot. But there is a commitment of the energy of the whole world around you for this agency as well. We're in a good environment to do this work. And that is clarified by Elder Ladybug. Open to miracles. There's something in the time now that allows this work to create, to allow you to manifest great things. Something very special about the current environment and time. No time like the present. Hopes and fears is Archangel Michael. You know, this is very much a card of strength and protection. And yes, we want a Michael to come in now. And also there is a sense that, in a way, the energy, when you get into the agency, it brings Michael in. It brings in this protection of family and innocence. And that is clarified by Elder Beaver. Remain focused. You know, that's Michael. And to some extent, you know, that's the hope and fear in this. There's great power in this. There's also great responsibility. And it requires great focus. and continued focus even when you're being challenged. But what is the outcome? What comes from this for people? 6 of Roses, War of the Roses. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Since we have the Garden as the 5, and the next step is the War of the Roses, leading us, you know, there has to be this assessment of duality in this. If everybody is in full agency and they go against each other, you know, it can create conflict. As I said earlier, when you start walking this way, it may be hard for the rest of the world to take it. It sets you outside of, on the other side of convention. This is something to be aware of. And how is that clarified? Elder Hawk, be more present. Yeah, and I think in some sense it's that by this you become more present and you become aware of this duality that is keeping people from agency. It will help you be more present to the duality that keeps people from having this agency. And I found that to be the case. I became much more empathetic and compassionate for other people because I could see that they didn't have agency. I could see that. And it really exposes the duality within ourselves, and that is outwardly reflected. Okay, hold on and I'll bring you up and we'll tie this up and close it out. Okay, wow, that was a very interesting read because in some sense I expected it to be a lot happier outcome. But of course, you know, the reality is that people who are in full energy agency in this world are not the norm. It is not how things are normally done by people. There is this whole dualistic nature of Western culture. And when you have full energy agency, it's completely outside of that. It is so different. Everything looks different when you turn and look at that system after you have extracted yourself from it and found some other truth and way of being that has nothing to do with that system that you've left behind. And so that can be very uncomfortable. So I would say that if you're coming to this site looking for tips on how to use your intuition and stuff to make your life better, that the message from this reading is that it's a process. It takes a lot of focus and a lot of diligence, and it's not going to make you successful in a dualistic system. If that's what you're looking for, if you're trying to be successful in the dualistic system, then you have to follow their rules. And their rules are to give your agency to other people and make relationships and have people gift you and give you things because of the relationships that you can build. And then you can grift and succeed however you need to in that dualistic system by putting someone else down. And then you can have their thing. So if that's what you want, do that. That's on you. That system is out there. It exists. Lots of people use it. Lots and lots. Like, all your leaders. But nonetheless, there is another way. And that way is so outside of the box of Western culture that if you choose to do it, you will gain agency but it will expose to you the truth of that dualistic system. And that requires you to be extremely present to navigate from then on. So am I telling people don't claim your agency? Not at all. Because a world will come when people all have agency, and when it is taught from birth, and it's never taken from you to begin with. And that is a world of peace. That is a world of connection. And that is a world of compassion. And we will get there eventually, because this is the natural truth about humans. But it takes trailblazers. If you're willing to be a trailblazer, step in the ring. You're not alone now. There are a lot of us who do this. And hopefully we're connecting here online and in ways that can help and support each other. But even if we never meet, I promise you that the energy that those of us who work with this put into manifesting highest good for all is coming to you. That energy is surrounding you, because we want that for you. And as you come into it and you begin doing that work and wanting that for others too, in the same way, this is what grows and spreads. So it is a worthy journey. It is a worthy journey. And if you choose to take it, I appreciate you. I honor you. And I hope you'll come back here and share your journey with me. So click like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. All right? Very good. Love you guys.